Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm feeling so inspired by the makeup that's sitting in front of me. You know those days where there's like a certain color or a certain formula, like one product that you just are drawn to and then it inspires you to do an entire look? That's totally what happened today as I was prepping for this video. I was inspired by a specific color and it was the lipstick that I'm going to use, which I will show you obviously as we do the tutorial. And I built this entire like color story based off of this lipstick. I'm really excited to bring my idea to life using these products that really do inspire me right now. I am in a makeup mood and I'm really excited too because Flower Beauty is sponsoring today's video. Flower Beauty, you guys know, it's one of my favorite brands. I know you guys love it as well. They are such an incredible brand to work with and they create some of the best affordable, high quality makeup that is just really fun to use. They always have very wearable formulas that come in really fun colors. One of my favorite go-to brands for when I just feel like I want to play with makeup, and so they are such a dream to work with. And so I'm going to be just incorporating some of my personal favorite Flower Beauty products throughout this tutorial. So let's just get right into it. We're going to start with complexion today, and I'm going to use my Flower Beauty Supernova Celestial Priming Whip. I've been using this quite a bit recently, you guys have seen on my channel. It's such a fun product to use. It's probably loud in the mic actually, but you just want to shake it up because it's like a little aerosol mousse. Okay, I'm gonna try to show this to you without applying too much. Okay, look how fun. It's always so fun to apply and use. I love the lavender color in this because it really helps to kind of brighten the complexion. So I'm just gonna start to kind of evenly distribute this all over the complexion. A little bit goes a long way with this product. And not only does that lavender undertone do a great job at brightening the skin, it also has a little bit of like a golden sheen to it. I've explained this before on my channel, but just in case you've never seen me use this product, I really like that about this. It's fun to use, but then it actually looks so gorgeous on the skin. Maybe you can see it on my hands a little bit better. You can see that golden sheen right here. That's what it does to your complexion, but it's not a glittery type of sheen. It just literally looks lit from within. And it dries down beautifully too. Leaves a nice tacky finish, which is great for underneath makeup. So next up, I wanted to reuse a foundation that I just barely tried. I will have the review down below if you're interested, but I'm gonna be using this KVD Vegan Beauty Good Apple foundation, and I really wanted to try it out using a sponge. So I'm just gonna dip this sponge directly into the product, and I'm gonna go ahead and apply it all over the complexion. It's super full coverage, so I'm hoping that the sponge will allow me to control the amount of foundation I'm applying. This sponge is also from Flower Beauty. It's one of my favorite sponges. I've been using this sponge for years. Not this specific sponge, but I've been using this sponge though for a long, long time. It's one of the best affordable sponges out there. Super high quality, super soft. It doesn't absorb all the product that you're trying to apply. It's really nice. Which, oh my gosh, okay, I just remembered. Every once in a while, I get comments asking about my sponges and whether I wet my sponges or not. And just so you know, I don't say this in my videos, but anytime I use a beauty sponge, it is damp. So I run it underneath water before I film and then make sure to squeeze out all the excess. And that's what gives the most natural finish with every foundation. And even when I incorporate it into my routine later, which you guys probably know if you've watched my tutorials, I like to use my sponge after using powder, and I'll use the same sponge and it is damp. So even though I'm going over top of powders, I don't find that it moves the makeup around if I'm gentle over top of my powders when that part of my routine comes around. So I was just reminded of that. So I wanted to kind of clarify that when you see my sponge, it's always damp. Okay, yeah, I really liked how that applied using the sponge, and it also looks gorgeous on top of that primer too. Wonderful. Okay, we're gonna move on to concealer. I'm gonna use my Flower Beauty Light Illusion Full Coverage Concealer. I've got the shade L1-2 Fair, and I'm just gonna pop this right here and right here. This is the new way of doing concealer. Have you guys noticed? It's no longer like the triangle under the eyes. It's just a little bit right here and a little bit right here. This is what everyone is doing, so I've been doing it too. And I actually really do like how it looks. It's funny because I still end up blending this underneath the eyes more. Like I still blend it in a triangular shape, but I feel like it helps not overdo the amount of product, you know? I'm just gonna blend that out with my same sponge. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys the lipstick color so you can kind of get a feel for the vibe I'm going for. So Flower Beauty makes this lipstick. It's the Perfect Pout Moisturizing Lipstick. It's an incredible formula. I've been talking about it quite a bit recently. And I've been trying some new colors, so I usually reach for more of like the nude tones, but this color in Tiger Lily is so beautiful. It's kind of like a corally pink, and this is the color that I tried this on. I've worn it before, but I tried it on again and I was like, you know what? I should really do an entire look kind of focused on this color, because when I've worn it in the past, I've done like a really simple face and just kind of had it as a little pop of color on the lips, but I wanted to add more of that color onto the complexion and kind of make it an entire vibe, if that makes sense. So I'm excited. Hopefully it turns out the way that I have it in my head. If not, oh well, you know, it's fun to just play with makeup and experiment and like act on those inspirations when it comes to certain tones or textures or whatever. That's how we all learn, right? We just like kind of try things out as we go. I'm gonna take a little bit of that concealer, whatever's left on the sponge, and just apply it to the eyelids to kind of cancel out any redness there. Okay, I'm gonna hop around a little bit because the next products I'm gonna use on the eyes are cream products. So I wanna make sure to apply the eye products all the way around the eyes and then use powder, just because I do need to blend these out. So I'm gonna use these scribble sticks from Flower Beauty. These are in the shade Tickle Me Pink 15 and 25 Sherbet. Sherbet. I can never say that word. That is like one of the words in the entire English language that I can never say without like hurting. So we're using that shade today, but I'm gonna start off with the lighter shade called Tickle Me Pink. These are really cool. So you can actually use this on the eyes and on the lips. I'm gonna show you how I use both, but I'm gonna use it first off as a base on the eyes. So I'm taking the lighter shade, as you can see right here, and I'm just gonna start on the lid area. Then I'm taking a brush and just kind of buffing this up and out. I really like how well this shears out, so it's not scary on the eyes, but it's also wild when you use it on the lips, how pigmented it stays. It's kind of a crazy product. I really like it. So I'm just layering up that lighter base, which is just a really nice light wash of color there. Also taking this along the lower lash line, and then I'm gonna buff that out as well with the same brush, just using the edge. Same thing on this eye. Okay, so I built up about 2.5 layers of that just to create a nice all over base. I am gonna go in with the deeper color, Sherbet. I always wanna say Sherbet. Anyway, I'm gonna go in with this color, which is a little bit more rosy toned, and I'm gonna start focusing this on like the outer portions. So just right here, and then I'm kinda gonna draw into the crease a little bit with this as well. We're gonna start with just that, and I'm gonna use the same exact brush. And I'm gonna try to keep the shape. I mean, obviously I want it a little bit buffed and blended in, but I'm gonna try to kind of focus that shape in this outer V here. I'm adding a little bit more so that when I open my eyes, you kind of see the diagonal right here. And then I'm gonna pop a little bit on the outer third of the lower lash line as well, and just blend that out with the same brush too. How pretty is that? Honestly, it's so nice. Gives a nice like watercolor effect to the eyes. And I have a really cool eyeshadow that I wanted to apply as well, which I will obviously show you guys in a little bit, but I really think it's gonna look cool with these colors. Okay, we're gonna bounce around a little bit again, just because the eyeshadow is a powder shadow and it's a little bit sparkly, so I just don't want too much of the sparkle falling down without it being powdered first. So that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna go ahead and go into the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder for under eyes. And this is just a really nice, super finely milled powder that's specifically made for the eye area. So I'm gonna go ahead and buff this right underneath the eyes, and I'm not gonna set the cream shadow. I'm gonna kind of purposefully work around it. And then I am also going to take a little bit of a more intense powder. Well, I shouldn't say intense, but it's not as thin as the under eye powder I just used. This one is from Nakia Joy. It's just her translucent powder, and I'm gonna take a bit of this, and I'm gonna use this to set the rest of the face. Do you guys ever do this? Like just sit down and play around with makeup with no certain ending in mind? That's one of my favorite things to do with makeup. Or are you more of a creature of habit? Like, would you rather just sit down and do what you know because you know it works? Or do you guys like to play around with makeup like I do? Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious actually. Okay. Now that we've powdered, this is where we go back in with a sponge, and yes, it is still damp, but I'm using very, very light pressure, and I'm just bouncing it, I'm not swiping, to avoid removing any of the coverage, but I love to do this after applying powder because it just gets rid of the powdery powder finish of powder. All right, let's finish up the eyes. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna put the brows on next. I'm just gonna fill in my brows with the Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. Okay, now I'm going to just go back over the eyelid with my brush just to make sure that any of the cream shadow that's kind of settling in my crease is not in the crease when I apply the powder, so that throughout the day it kind of stays uncreased. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. This is the Pat McGrath Mothership 5, and I wanted to use this shade. I just felt like this kind of duochrome green gold, but there's a little bit of a pink shift to it too. I felt like this would look incredible with the lipstick and the cheek color and this eye situation. So let's hope that I'm right. I'm gonna go ahead and press this onto the eyelid. I'm focusing on this inner portion. And then since it is more of a glittery shade, I'm just gonna continue to like press it onto the lid until there's not much left on my finger, and that'll kind of create a natural gradient. Yes, 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 yes. Ah, this is so cool. Obviously, if you are following along or recreating this with things that you have, you could use any sort of glittery shadow. It doesn't have to be a shifty one like this, but a shifty one sure does make it cool. Yes, oh wow. I think it looks amazing with that color. I'm gonna kind of tap it up toward the brow a little too, so that when the light hits, it's kind of dispersing up to the brow. The scribble sticks made a really nice base because they didn't dry down super tight and matte. There's a little bit of a tackiness left, which is awesome for a sparkly shadow like this because it really adheres. I'm not seeing really any fallout underneath, which is so wonderful because usually this shade tends to fall out at least a little bit. I don't know what I want to do on the lower lash line yet, so I'm just going to apply mascara really quick to the top lashes. This is the M Cosmetics mascara, and I'm applying this quickly because with glittery shadows, I find it really nice to apply mascara right after so that if there is any fallout as I move my eyelids throughout the rest of the tutorial, it's not going to fall down onto the face as much because my lashes will catch it. Okay, now that I've applied mascara, I actually feel like I'm going to just leave the lower lash line as is. So I'm just gonna apply mascara to the lower lashes too. I'm really happy with how the eyes are looking. I think those colors look really nice together. It's something special, but not too over the top because that pink is pretty soft. Very happy about this. Okay, we're gonna go into bronzer next. I'm just gonna use this right here, the Flower Heatwave Luminous Bronzer, which has been on my channel since it launched. However long ago that was. I love this stuff, you guys already know. I'm just gonna use the shade Sunrise and use a big fluffy brush to just kind of buff this into the complexion. I don't want a super contoured look. I just want sun-kissed and like a diffused bronzer look. I'm gonna make sure to apply some on the forehead. I love this bronzer because of the baked formula. It's got a little bit of a luminosity to it as well. So even though it is a powder, it's not lifeless, which I love. Like your skin still ends up looking super glowy and healthy. It's so good. All right, I'm taking a little bronzer across the nose as well. So again, not like a contour, but just a little bit of warmth in the center of my face too. All right, next I'm gonna take this Flower Beauty Flower Pots blush in the shade Spiced Petal. I have mascara on my finger. I'm gonna apply this more toward the back of the cheeks because I have another brighter blush that I wanted to apply like on the apples. But I wanted this to kind of ground the blush and match the eye color a little bit more. So I'm applying it higher up and further back, kind of even connecting it to the sides of my eyes. That's beautiful on its own, honestly, but since I'm such a blush person, I wanted to add like a pop of something brighter to help match the lipstick. And so I'm gonna use my Dior Backstage Rosy Glow Blush. That was like a tongue twister. In the shade Coral. How amazing is this? I mean, you guys already know I recently used this in my everyday spring makeup tutorial. And this is what I just want to apply on the very apples of the cheeks for that freshness and brightness. Love that. Okay, we're gonna do highlighter really quick. I grabbed this. It's been a while since I've used this, but I really love this highlight. It's from Fenty Beauty, and I have the shade Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal, and I think the one that I use is Lightning Dust? It's whatever's not as sparkly. It's this side of the pan. And I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this to the high points of the face, just kind of buffing it into the complexion. I love how buildable and natural this formula is. It really like makes the skin glow, but it's not overpowering. It doesn't like take over, especially when I want something like the eyes to be the focal point, not the highlight. I don't want it to like compete with each other. So something softer really helps pull in the glow, but it's not too much in my opinion. I'm gonna apply a little bit on my Cupid's bow. and a bit on the brows, like above the brows, I mean, right here. Okay, there was something I thought to do when I was applying that and now I forgot. Maybe it'll come to me later. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and press the highlighter into the skin with my sponge. I love using a damp sponge over powder highlights as well. It just melts everything. It works so well. Again, don't swipe, just kind of press, and it will make it look so much more natural. Oh, I know what I thought of. I thought of my inner corner highlight while I had the highlighter out. So I'm gonna actually take the sparklier shade and I'm gonna apply this to the inner corner of the eyes and kind of drag it right here as well. This highlighter has a slight pink undertone, which I think ties the eyeshadow together perfectly too. I'm not going to apply this to the brow bone because I kind of took a little bit of the first highlight shade and dusted it into the brows. So I'm just gonna keep it in the inner corner only. Now for lips, we're gonna move back to the scribble sticks. And I'm gonna use the shade 25 Sherbet. And hey, I'm getting better. Which by the way, there's a sharpener at the bottom, which is great. So I'm just gonna sharpen this really quick. Since I did use it on the eyes, I wanna make sure that I have a nice precise edge for my lips. And then you just put the sharpener back. So here it is, sharpened. I'm gonna go ahead and take this shade and start to just trace the edge of the lips. Normally I line and fill in the lips. You guys probably know that. Today I am just gonna line and then kind of fill in the corners because this will start to create that dimension, but I'm leaving the center open for the lipstick. Isn't that wild, like how much more pigmented that was on the lips versus the eyes when you blend it out? I think it's so cool. Okay, here we go, folks. Let's go into the lipstick that inspired the whole situation. Again, this is the Flower Beauty Perfect Pout Moisturizing Lipstick in the shade Tiger Lily. It's so good, and I really like this formula too because it is so hydrating and it's buildable, but I love this kind of orangey coral color. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start applying this to the center of the lips. But it's nice because it kind of feels like a balm, but it has a bit of a glossy finish, so I find that I can just kind of throw it on the lips and not worry about applying a gloss on top. Okay, so once that's applied, I'm gonna take my finger and just blend this into the lip liner. I'm just taking my sponge and gently pressing around the edges to make sure there's a nice shape to the lips. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the cheeks. I feel like now that the lip products are on, a little more blush won't hurt. I'm taking the Dior one because again, I just want that pop of coral to kind of match the intensity of the lips. I'm so glad it's spring. I mean, it doesn't feel like spring here where I am. It's still snowing, honestly, but I'm glad it's spring for the sake of spring makeup looks. I'm just taking the brush I used with the under eye powder and kind of smoothing out T-zone a bit. Let's see. More bronzer? Of course, I shouldn't even ask. I didn't add any more to the brush. I'm just taking what's left on the brush and applying it. Okay, I'm really happy with how everything looks. This is definitely what I had in mind. I'm gonna go ahead and set the face with the Flower Seal the Deal Luminizing Setting Spray. I'm gonna be focusing this on the outside of the face because it's a pretty dewy setting spray and I get oily in the T-zone. I love how that smells. And then I'm just gonna take my Flower Beauty sponge and press that into the skin. And then I can't live without a brow gel, of course. So I'm just gonna set the brows with my Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. Oh gosh, I really love this lip color so much. I feel like this look would also be gorgeous with like a pinky nude if you didn't want something a little bit brighter on the lips, but I think there's something really special about like a pinky coral lip. It's still very wearable, but it's a bit more of a statement, which is great for spring. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of an iridescent type liner. This is actually from Benefit. It's their Highbrow Glow. So you're technically supposed to use it like to highlight the brows. But I thought it would be really pretty to have a little bit of a like iridescence in the waterline. So it's not gonna be too brightening, but if the light hits just right, it'll just kind of illuminate my eyes. All right, well, that completes this makeup look. I am so in love with how this turned out. I'm really glad that I just went with the whole coral thing because I feel like it's still very me aesthetically, but it's a little bit more springy. It's a little bit more warm toned than my typical kind of blues and lavenders that I like to do when it comes to more of an iridescent look like this. I really love how it turned out. I really love all the products that I used as well. I think the tones and the formulas worked beautifully together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's always so fun for me to just sit down and be inspired by makeup. Truly, that's like the best part about makeup, right? Is just letting certain colors and textures inspire you to create something really beautiful and something that you feel beautiful in. So I feel like I really achieved that for myself, at least today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me create this look. Again, huge thanks to my friends at Flower Beauty for sponsoring today's video. They are seriously such an incredible brand, and it makes it such a natural partnership when it's a brand that I genuinely use on and off camera all the time. You guys already know I love this brand, so thanks again to Flower Beauty. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button, and if you're already a subscriber, but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe, and you'll get a notification every single time I post. If you guys want to shop any of these products, especially the Flower Beauty products that I use today, I will have them in the description box down below for you. So be sure to check those out. Thanks again to everybody who watched. I love you all so much, and I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.